Okay, this one, guys, is from the 3-4 review. This is number 5. Rewrite each equation in the form of y equals a times x minus p all squared plus q. So this one is one that we have to complete the square. So what you want to do with completing the square is you got to make sure that the coefficient on the x squared is just 1. So in this case it's not, which isn't a big problem. We'll do d here, which isn't a big problem, but what you have to do is you have to, again, group these two terms, if you remember completing the square, and you'll have to factor a 1/4 out, okay? So this is x squared then. Now 4 divided by 1/4 is actually the same as 4 times 4 over 1, so that's going to be 16x, okay? To complete the square, you put plus blank, and then keep your plus 20 out there that's already there. Okay, so that's the first step, right? Second step would be to take half of this b term, which is 8, and then you square it to get this number right here. Okay, so that's how we're going to be able to make this a perfect square. But when we do that, we're actually adding to this side of the equation, we're actually adding 1/4 times 64. So that's what we have to realize that we're adding, so we have to counterbalance that. So what's 64 divided by 4? Was that 16? 16 times 4? So what we're actually doing is we're actually adding 16. You see, by putting that 64 there? Is that making sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So that means I have to subtract 16 out here. Okay. Now we just kind of rewrite it, and we leave the 1/4 out. I shrink this down to the perfect square, so it's going to be x plus 8 all squared, and then 20 minus 16 is plus 4. So it looks like it should be that right there. So the key there is completing the square. Does that match up with the back?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So any other questions on completing the square before I put this one away? We're good?
How do you get the 16 on the end?
Okay, so because I put the 64 here to complete this square inside these brackets here, right? What I've actually done is I've actually added to this equation 1/4 times 64. So I've actually added 16 by putting the 64 here. So in order to counterbalance that, you either have to add 16 to the other side or subtract 16 to the same side somewhere outside those brackets. And then when I combine 20 minus 16, that's when I get the 4. Yeah. Now when it says compare the graph to the function y equals x squared, so that comparison would be the vertex is here at -8, 4, right? And then this is a width opening. This 1/4 means that it's wider, right? So you would say that it's wider by a factor of times 4, really. And the vertex is moved 8 units left. Wow, 8 units left and 4 units up. So that's just kind of getting you used to thinking about what they're called as transformations. And in Pre-Cal 30, we're going to talk about transformations throughout the whole course. So that's a big deal to know what that equation tells us about the parabola and how that's shifted and stretched and so on. Yeah, that's leading into next class here. We're going to be talking a lot about this kind of stuff in Pre-Cal 30. Okay, good. Any other questions about this one? Nope. Excellent.
Do you think I could just stay like